T minus 10 minutes. T minus 9 minutes. T minus 8 minutes. T minus 7 minutes. T minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes.
This is the big...
T minus 4 minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds.
Time to drive at Route 4 Chrysler Dodge Jeep of Paramus. Come in today and save on over 1,100 new vehicles to choose.
T minus 40 seconds. Minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Test, test, sound check. All right, guys, the microphone was actually muted, so I just want to make sure you guys can hear me now. All right, guys, the microphone was actually muted, so I just want to make sure you guys can hear me now. Yeah, I apologize for that. So basically, this is a little crazy. So what I was saying before in silence, you guys couldn't hear me because it was muted. Nooberific is, well, the first things that I noticed is that this guy, let me mute this, let's make sure the sound was good. One of the first things I noticed is how far back from the main road this guy stopped. So I'm thinking there could be a little bit of a visibility issue, and trust me, there's a lot of blame to go around. It's not just about the officer or this guy. If you look here, you can see there's a good amount of distance between the main road here and back where this guy is, right? Smaller vehicle. There's also a pole right there. If you look, you got to look at when he's facing that direction. Let's see if I can get that. When he looks to the right. Seems he's focused a lot on the left for some reason. Look, he's left, 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 right, 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 left, 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 left. I guess he's gonna make a left turn. I'm assuming. That's insane. That is insane. That's insane. All right, so when he finally looks to the right, you'll see he does a quick little. See that there's a pole right here. There's also a sign right here. These are all things that, now this guy's on a bicycle, but a lot of this applies on a motorcycle, right? You're a smaller vehicle, right? So a lot of the problems a bicyclist will have, a motorcyclist will have. So again, this 45-mile-per-hour speed limit sign, the Peculiar? Is that the name of the town? Peculiar. That's a peculiar name for a town. So the name of the town, the speed limit, is also another sign here. Luckily, they haven't let the grass grow up and stuff too much. But you also have a pole. A lot of things going on. Very easy. A lot of people only think from their perspective. So from a biker perspective, it's like, I'm right here. How can you not see me? You're a smaller vehicle. It's harder to see you from further distance. Like, you can spot a car from a much further distance than you can spot a biker. Now, a biker who also happens to be considerably back from the main road, also behind a pole and a sign, these are not things that are going to help. Now, that being said, police officer making a turn while texting, I mean, come on, guys. You're texting while you're making your turn. Texting? I mean, come on, guys. You're texting while you're making your turn. I just doing another quick sound check. Yeah, so that's a pretty bad thing. Now, there's an additional thing that the officer does. Well, I was talking more from the biker perspective. Now, from the officer perspective, there's a couple of things. One of my biggest pet peeves that he does. Watch how he makes the turn. Okay, now this is one of the things that I see a lot of people doing. I tend not to do this, what the officer did, not the texting part. I tend not to do what the officer did, but it's a normal thing. A lot of people do, to the extent that I had some comments from the lady saying, you know, hey, you know, you make your turn so wide, I think is what she says, right? This is one of the reasons why I don't make the turn so wide. Never mind visibility issues. Never mind texting while turning, right? Look where the officer is. The road that he's turning on is a 2-lane road. It's an unmarked 2-lane road, right? But he's turning across both lanes. I don't know why people keep doing this. Well, I know there's a reason why. You can make a smoother turn in terms of comfort level in your vehicle if you turn actually sharper like this. It's not sharper, but you know what I mean. Like you're cutting across the lanes. If you were to stay in your lane as you should, officer, then you would more make closer to a 90-degree turn. Now this turn is a much wider turn than that because you're cutting across the lane. So my point is that this officer shouldn't be in this lane, right? He turned right into that lane. That's how he ended up hitting the biker. Matter of fact, if he turned the way that I turn, not condoning texting, but if he turns the way that I turn, this accident wouldn't have happened, even texting. You see the beauty of having good practices on the road? The more things that you do that are more sensible, it helps you out, because if you screw up in one area, something else will save you, like not paying attention, which you should be. But if you're in your right lane and you don't cut across another lane, then you don't hit people head on like this. Luckily, this guy didn't get too injured, but you know, what was he doing? Now this guy keeps looking on the left, so we can get a good view of the left. The officer should be over here. You see all this space right here? He should have pulled up over here. And here's the next thing. That also eliminates visibility issues. I wish I could show what the officer saw from his perspective, but also visibility issues. Remember I talked about the sign is in the way, the pole's in the way. Guess what? All of that gets eliminated if you turn properly and don't cut across the lanes. Because if you turn properly, he's going to go up and pass the bicyclist, right? And then after he passes the bicyclist, he can see. I mean, you're that close. There's nothing in the way. You will see the bicyclist. So even if the bicyclist is like too far to the left, you will see them from that distance. From far down, the sign's in the way, pole's in the way. But if he turns properly and comes up here and makes a left, yes, you have to slow down more. That's another reason why people do it. It's, you know, they don't want to slow down. They don't want to turn as sharply, right? So they cut across the lane. But if you pull up past that lane, come not quite to a stop, but almost to a stop, and then make your turn, you avoid this, right? But that was kind of ridiculous. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about my point about not cutting across the lane? Is that something that bothers you? Do you think that the officer was right to turn that way? Never mind the texting. Or do you agree with me that the proper way is to turn around? Basically, you shouldn't be crossing lanes. You should stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, right? If he's going in the opposite direction of this bicyclist, so he should be on the opposite lane, right? So that's one of my major points here with this. So then we can see what happens after that. So let's see what are the officer's explanation for what happened.
Whoa! Ah! You mother! Why the fuck are you looking at your phone, officer? I got a text from another officer here. Give me.
I gotta give this guy props for actually being honest, at least. And if you guys want to join in the chat, if you have any comments, the link is in the chat. Click on that link and you can join on the Hangout. So one thing I gotta give this officer props. He really screwed the pooch, texting, turning that way. But at least he owns up. Now, I don't know if he knew he was being recorded. I doubt he knew that. But he's just like, he says, why are you texting? He says, no, I got a text message. Which doesn't absolve what he's doing, right? And he's acknowledging it. He's actually, you have a right to remain silent, right? He's incriminating himself. So technically, he probably should keep his mouth shut about what he's doing and just address the matter at hand, which means, you know, stop the vehicle safely, put on your lights. I didn't see him put his lights on. I don't know if he did or he didn't, right? Because you got to block traffic or whatever, you know, make it safe so the guy's down, no one hits him, right? Call it in, right? And then assess this guy, make sure he's in good health, nothing's wrong or whatever. Offer any assistance, first aid that he needs. You shouldn't really be discussing legal matters, which is, you know, what were you doing? Were you texting? Were you not texting? Were you paying attention? Not paying attention? These are all things that could be used against the officer in a court of law, assuming that our courts are not corrupt. But anyway, so technically he shouldn't have said that, but props to him for being honest, right? He's like straight up. He didn't say, oh, what are you talking about? No, he's like, I wasn't texting, but I was looking at a text. Now, that could have been a lie, but the fact that he even admits that he was looking at a text, which is, he's admitting negligence, right? That's great for this guy because use this in a court of law. I mean, technically, again, the courts aren't too corrupt. This should be an open and shut case because you got him on video. I want to say tape, old school. It's not tape. You got him on video saying that he was looking at the text, which he shouldn't be doing. So he should be penalized for that alone, right? And then as far as who's guilty and who's liable for this, obviously he's claiming liability by saying he was looking at the text. So he's a distracted driver. He's not paying attention. Yeah, a lot of problems there, but props for being honest.
You motherfucker.
I don't know why the vehicle's still rolling when the door's open and he's kind of got his foot out. So I don't know. This guy's like really, I don't know if he got enough sleep. He did a long shift. Did you guys see that? It was still moving. Look. Let me see. I'm going to play that back again. Is he just like moving it to a better location maybe? But he's got the door open. It's just weird. He's got the door open and like it's still rolling. What are you doing, buddy?
You motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't know about that. A little shady.
396.
I don't know if he should have stopped.
God damn it!
Around the corner so that someone else doesn't come and do the same thing. You know, the
why are you texting? I don't care if you're texting.
I wasn't texting. The biker's distracted and all this kind of stuff, and he just hit him making that corner, and now they're gonna stand in the same corner where they just got hit, and have a discussion. So, I mean, he's human. He's not perfect. I don't know if that was the best decision. I don't know what the training tells him, but to me, my first instinct would be he should back up so that he's fully visible to any traffic that's going to come down that way and make the same turn, right? Not obstructing traffic on the main road, but completely visible. You should also have his lights on. I don't think his lights are not even on even at this point. Now, I'm not a police officer. I don't know what the rules are, but some of these things don't seem to add up to me.
God damn it!
Yeah, his lights are not on. I think, does he have hazards on? He's got hazards on, that's it. He doesn't have his police lights on. He's not drawing any attention to himself, you know, in terms of there was an accident here, be careful, watch out. And now he's got his head down. He's standing in the same spot where they just got hit. You know, his head down, he's got a hat on. Irrelevance is in terms of visibility to oncoming traffic, right? He because of the position of his head right now and the visor of the hat, that's going to obstruct his forward, I don't know if you want to call it peripheral vision. In other words, another vehicle coming from where he just came from, it would be hard for him to see that vehicle because the visor is in the way. All he can see as far as peripheral is obviously down on the ground, and anything that actually is perpendicular to this road that they're on. So until a vehicle gets that far down, he's not going to be able to really see them. Now he can hear, but he can't really see them. So I don't know if this officer is being very safe. He's not a young officer. I don't know how long he's been on the force, but just my observations.
Why are you texting? I don't care if you're texting.
I wasn't texting. I was looking at my phone.
Either way.
I like that he's being honest, but it's got a little tone. I wasn't texting. You know, he's not being rude. He's not over the line, but yeah, he's got a little attitude. Little. Barely worth mentioning, but just a little. Listen to him.
Why are you texting? I don't care if you're texting.
I wasn't texting. I was looking at my phone.
The hand, see the hand gesture? He's got the hand out. Oh, it takes he's got the hand out and everything. He's, you know, he's a peculiar officer, this officer from Peculiar, whatever.
You texting? I don't care if you're texting.
I wasn't texting. I was looking at my phone.
Either way.
Yeah, I know. That's my bad.
Why are you doing that in a turn?
I wasn't paying attention.
Officer.
Again, he's admitting guilt. I wasn't paying attention. He's just like totally incriminating himself. Wow.
Holy shit, dude.
Where's C. Kim and Christopher Carter? Where are these people? C. Kim, Fast and Fearless, Christopher Carter. Where are you, man?
I can walk. How's my arm look?
Your arm's fine.
How about this one?
You're fine. There's no abrasions. That's the other.
Of course he's fine, right? The officer doesn't want to be like, oh man, you look really messed up, dude. You should go to the hospital. Look at that. You're bleeding. You're. It's in his best interest to minimize the injuries. But of course, if the bicyclist is seriously injured, you know, he's going to notice. He's going to go to the hospital and is probably going to seek compensation. Right? So what you're saying on camera, I mean, I guess for his camera, because he's probably got a body cam on. As a matter of fact, I think I saw a unit on him. In terms of fraud, right? So it's like in a court of law. Oh no, he on the accident scene he looked fine. I don't really see much injuries at all. And then a week later he's talking about he's limping and da da da. I don't believe it's legitimate, right? And look at my body cam. Listen to my assessment when I saw him. This is me on the scene. This is my assessment. My assessment was that he looks fine. And then all of a sudden, you know, what happened, right? So it's in his best interest to minimize it, I think. But yeah, it's a little conflict of interest asking the officer, how am I doing? You're fine, buddy. Let's not even report this. You know what I mean? You're fine. Just get on your bike and ride off. Let's just forget this even happened. I'm sorry, guy. Right.
Your arm's fine.
How about this one?
You're fine. There's no abrasions. That's the only abrasion you got right there.
Jesus fucking A. Got one here. Right. You got band-aids?
Yep, I do.
I guarantee fucking to you my frame's cracked.
Jeffrey, bicycles.
If you're wondering what happened after this, he called in the Missouri State Police because there would be a conflict of interest if he filed his own report. So Troopers Green and Toos from the State Police showed up. They did the accident report. I had paramedics check me out, did a refusal for the ER because I was basically just scraped and bruised. I am feeling incredibly sore right now, and I'm going to get checked out.
I'm sure you are. So now let's move on to the next topic for today's Friday live stream, the 2019 Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R details. So we had a couple of folks join in on the live stream. We have Ed White, Carlos Sandoval, says, no me gusta la forma de la cara de resto está super. We have Aero R, Cochise Star, and Victor Santos joined in. And if we take a look at the comments, Fast and Fearless stopped by, said 10 out of 10. So Fast and Fearless, definitely Team Green. He says 10 out of 10 for Kawasaki Green. And then he says LOL. So I don't know, Fast and Fearless. I like the new shape. I still perfect the ZX10. So I think he means prefer the ZX10 for the extra power you need to get your ass in gear. I think he's talking about me. Yep. Let's play a little bit of that. For those of you guys that missed that live stream. Cochise rates it a 7, so we got 2 7s. So the timing is interesting because it is time for us to move on to another bike. I really enjoyed the time. 1 second. I really enjoyed my time with the KTM RC390R, but I think it's time to move on to the next bike. But strangely enough, it's been really challenging for me to decide on what the next mean machine is going to be. Is it going to be a green machine? Is it going to be a red machine? I don't know. Anyway, so here's the thing. It's definitely got to be a mid size bike. So we're talking about like a 600cc, a 750, something like that. The question is which one. So I've got a couple of my favorite companies open up here. So we've got the Kawasaki. We got the Kawasaki, not just Kawasaki. We have the Kawasaki. Not just any Kawasaki. Anyway, we have Suzuki motorcycles. We got Yamaha. We have Honda. The Power of Dreams motorcycles. And we have also Aprilia. And we have MV Agusta. So these are the brands that I'm looking at. I can tell you right now, the only reason probably why MV Agusta is even on this screen, because you guys know the experience I had with MV Agusta in Italy. It was amazing. Definitely bucket list. But not exactly the kind of bike that I think is appropriate for a second bike. In terms of the cost, in terms of reliability, it's more, I don't know if boutique is the word, but that's more of a high-end specialty bike that I think is more appropriate for contender for dream bike. I think absolutely, without a doubt, there is an MV Agusta that would qualify for the dream bike. Dream bike is 2019 summer, right? That's the goal. So that's cool. But we're looking for a second bike. I don't know that. I mean, you could look at like the 800. which is an awesome bike. There's a dragster. I just don't. It just doesn't. This is interesting. The RVS number 1. Look at that starting price. Look at that starting price. This is more expensive than the other bikes. What is this? A triple 798 with 150 horsepower. Starting at, it says pounds, so I'm assuming that's 36,000 pounds. That is no joke. 245 kilometers per hour is the top speed, which is not too far off from the top speeds of its other bikes. That is one of the fastest MV Agustas, right? Only thing that's beating it right now is the F4 at 291, F3 at only 5 kilometers per hour faster at 251, and I think that's it. The dragster is the same top speed, right? 160 kilograms, 245. So dragster's a little heavier, but same top speed, $18,000 versus 36. So I don't know what's up with this. It says extreme and exclusive, so it must be like a limited production model or something, but that's pretty insane. I think right off the bat, I mean, $13,000 for the Brutale 800. I don't know, man. As a second bike, I don't know. Is it RR at 15? I don't think you're ready for an RR for a second bike. Even though both of these, let's see, 109 horsepower, 140. Okay, big jump. That's a pretty big jump. Let's put the 800 on there. I don't think that makes any sense at all whatsoever, but I'm gonna put it on there. All right, so let's go through each of these brands and see, what they have to offer, and see what my targets are gonna be in terms of what's the second bike. And I would say we've been riding for, I would say, I mean, this is like virtual years, right? In this project that I'm doing, 10 years of bikes in 1 year. So I would say we've had the KTM so long that I think this is equivalent of riding that bike for a few years, definitely 2 years. So you've been riding for 2 to 3 years, and now you're ready for your second bike. You're pretty comfortable. You're taking the classes, and you're looking for more power, right? Got some good miles under your belt. So let's see. What does Kawasaki have to offer that I would be interested in as a second bike? So we can automatically eliminate the 300 to 400. Okay, so Ninja 650. Ninja 650 is a potential. So let's see, will that work? In a new tab. Yep, there we go. Ninja 650. ZX6R. Based on price, we're not going to mess with, and that's a Hypersport. Are you doing a Hypersport as a second bike? Street bikes, dual purpose, motocross. So let's see what they got in the street section. They got the Z. Oh, yeah. Huh. That could be something. A Z900 or a Z650. Not a 900. That's too much for only 2 years of riding. Let's look at the Z650. The Z900 RS, I think, was a bike that I loved, but I don't know. I don't think that's the one. Then you get Adventure Touring. Concours. Nope. Vulcan. Yeah, I'm not really into these cruiser style bikes. So these are the Kawasaki contenders. The Ninja 650, the Ninja ZX6R, and the Z650 Kawasaki. Suzuki, what do you got going? Hayabusa. Nope. That's not a good second bike at all. GSX-R 750. 750 for sure. one of my favorite bikes. It's a nice contender, in my opinion, for the Daytona 675R. Daytona 675R is definitely, in my opinion, a more special motorcycle than the 750. But I did these bikes head to head. What is going on? So it doesn't allow me to open up the link. So I try to compare the two. And to be honest, the 750 for me, street riding, was holding its own. Now on the racetrack, I could see, hey, Jeremiah, good to see you, man. He says FZ09 all day, bro. FZ09. Oh, I don't know why I'm looking at Kawasaki. So we're gonna go through Yamaha, Honda, Aprilia, and stupidly enough, we're gonna look at MV Agusta. So yeah, the 750, I think on the street for me, I didn't feel faster on either bike. I felt they were comparable in terms of street bike actual performance. Now, the Daytona, once again, is more special. It's got the steel-braided brake lines and it sounds so beautiful. It's just an amazing machine. But if budget is at all a concern, and I'm considering both of those bikes, without a doubt, I'm jumping on the 750. The only thing that would stop me from doing that would be I'd have to do some research in terms of reliability and all those other factors. But based purely on the riding experience alone, if I'm looking at the 750, I'm looking at Daytona 675R. Money is something of concern, right? I don't want to spend more than I need to. I can't justify the extra cost of the Daytona 675R for a cost-conscious buyer, right? Cost-conscious buyer will buy the 750 and have just as much fun on that bike as you would on the Daytona 675R. Going to racetrack, things might change. Street rider, that's my personal opinion, right? You are getting more with Daytona 675R, but is it worth the price difference for the average rider on the street? I don't think so. And that is me as an absolute lover of the Daytona 675R. Absolutely love that bike. It's one of my favorite bikes, right? Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Done a lot of great miles on that thing. Absolutely love it. But I can say with all honesty, don't need to get it. If you like the 750, get the 750 if you're trying to save some money. You don't care about money? Get the Daytona. No doubt. Get the Daytona. Don't even worry about the 750. Get the Daytona. That's my opinion. All right, so Hayabusa 750. 250, we can eliminate that for sure. 1000 is too big for a newer rider. There's the R600. 1000s, those are too big. So it looks like that's... Oh, they got cruisers. I'm not interested in cruisers. Touring, standard bikes. This is interesting. So they got another type of 750. I got to see how this 750 is tuned. They have a GSX S 750. If they have one that's got the more torque, I might just go with that. The SV650 is a great bike to start on. It's a great bike for newer riders, for sure. But I've done so many miles on that thing. I mean, older generation, no doubt, but I just can't see myself. I don't know. I hear it's still... I have to look at and see how it's holding up against the competition now. So for that price range, that type of bike, 2018, how is the SV650 standing up? Because possibly that could be still a fun, like, extra bike in terms of maybe use it as a commuter bike, maybe use it as your track bike. You could upgrade the suspension like I did, make an awesome track bike. A lot of things you can do with that. Maybe long distance travel, a lot of things as a secondary bike. As a primary bike, as a I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just not feeling the 650. Not feeling it. But I think that's because, if I didn't spend so much miles and times and years on the 650, I might be putting it on the list. I think, to be honest, the only reason why I'm not putting it on the list is because I'm tired of it. It's not some amazing top end bike. You know what I mean? Like this is like a mid-level, beginner-friendly type bike. There's nothing really special about it. It's got so much power. The brakes are amazing. It sounds like something like out of heaven. There's nothing crazy like that. It's a great bike, a lot of fun, but it's not special, right? So yeah, I think I'm a little bit biased against. I'm not gonna say anything else. I think I'm a little biased against it, so don't really mind me about not putting it on the list. The GSX S750Z. I don't even know what that is. It's got a Z on the end. What does that mean? So let's pull that up. We'll just take a look and see what it says. And now let's move on to the next brand, Yamaha. And Jeremiah Thompson, don't just come into my chat and say FZ09 all day, bro. You got to tell me why. You got to tell me why. Why do you feel the FZ09 is the bike to get? Share with us. Do you have one? Have you had one? Have you test ridden it? Why is it that you like that bike? Wow. I guess this live stream is pretty close to real time because you answered pretty quickly. So Jeremiah says cross plane crankshaft, 849cc triple. Okay. Jeremiah, you got my attention already. You know I love triples. Best of all worlds. He has one. I ride it daily. 21,000 miles so far. Never had an issue. It's good. So reliable. At least that's anecdotal. For him, it's been reliable. We'll have to look at the records and see how other riders' experience has been. Not to mention spanking 1,000cc bikes. Okay, you really get my attention now. Spanking 1,000cc bikes and their pissed off owners. Okay, that's why. Mr. Jeremiah Thompson, you make a very good argument. Very good argument indeed. Well, we are at Yamaha. For those of you guys just joining in, we talked about the accident earlier with the police officer texting and running into a biker. And then we talked about the ZX6R a little bit. We're going to go back and read some more of those comments. But right now, we're doing bike shopping. I'm trying to pick out the next bike. So we're trying to do 10 years of bikes in 1 year. I really love the RC390, so I spent a lot of time on it. So equivalent, let's call it virtual 2 years or 3 years. So a rider who's been riding for 2 years to 3 years, looking for a second bike, if that was me going back in time, what bike would I choose? So we looked at, I picked out a couple of Kawasaki bikes, picked out a couple Suzuki bikes. Why is it just the pictures? Oh my goodness, fail and fail again. I got to fix that. I think we got them. Which bike is this one? The 750. Didn't I pick that already? 750Z. There's the R750. Yeah, I think I got the 750. And this is what? The 600. So the 600 did not come through. So let's grab that. So that is this guy. So this did not open up properly. There we go. All right, so let's go to Yamaha and see what Yamaha has going. What is this? They got a little video on their page. Yamaha.
From the time you're born, you yearn to be free.
You yearn to be free. And you subscribe to your Fast Life Motorcycle channel because you're smart.
And to feel the rush of the wind in your face.
You like all the videos on this channel.
Throughout your life, the desire never fades.
To smash that bell. Your Fast Life.
Takes you on new paths and in new directions.
The most awesome motorcycle channel in the universe. Bikes.
And as your dreams of journeying further than ever becomes a reality.
More bikes. And a guy with a sexy voice.
Of life continues. as does the passion.
Your fast life. Motorcycles for life. By the way, Yamaha, I apologize for stealing your commercial like that. I know you guys spent a lot of money on that. You don't appreciate me interjecting myself into your advertisement, but I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm a bad person. All right, so let's see what we got going. Super Sport, Hyper Naked. We got Sports Heritage. Oh, that was one of the awesome bikes that I rode. So let's see. We don't want tour. We don't want sport touring. So I presume. So let's see. What if I go to Super Sport? That shows me another commercial. There's the R6. I don't know how the handlebars are on this thing. Let's put it on a list. Let's put it on a list. Let's be crazy. No, that didn't work. I'm clicking on the wrong thing here. Keep doing the picture. There we go. R6. Okay, so that's it for that category. Let's go back and let's pick a Hyper Naked, I believe, is what Mr. Jeremiah is talking about. Jeremiah Thompson also says, oh, and I got it new out the door for $10,000 with riding gear. Jeremiah, I presume you're in the United States, so that's $10,000. We do have international viewers as well. Did I just see a guy on skates in a motorcycle commercial? They're talking to me. They're talking to me. I'm the inline speed skating guy. Well, used to be. this commercial's for me. They're speaking my language. So there's the MT10. There's the MT09. He says FZ09. Are you sure that's the correct name? Did they change the name of that? Is the FZ09? Is that the MT09? And you said 10,000 with riding gear. So let's add that. Let's add the 7. And is that it? Let's see what else I got going. Sports Heritage, Tour, Nikon, Scooter. That's got to be it. Jeremiah confirmed, but that's got to be the bike you're talking about because I don't see any other naked bikes. Texas. Everything's big in Texas. I don't know what you're doing on a 9. You should be on a 1000. Actually, you need to be on a Nikon. This is the kind of bike that real Texas riders ride. Unlike Jeremiah with his little itty-bitty 849cc, what is it? FZ09. Everybody else in Texas rides a Nikon, except for Jeremiah, who wanted a small bike for the fuel efficiency. Anyway, so I think that was a name change on the bike. So I think the bike you're referring to is actually now this bike, the MT09. MT was European model. FZ is for the states. So MT09 is European. So that's interesting. So they're advertising the European model on their. Well, this is not like Yamaha USA or anything. Interesting. So I guess they don't show the actual like the MT versus the FZ. They just show the MT, and then when you go to your dealer, it'll be an FZ, I guess. Pretty sexy. So while we have you, oh, that's nice. Jeremiah rides a turbo ZX14. That's a good little comparison there. I mean, that's obviously a much bigger bike, but having, riding such a powerful bike and as well as this bike, I think gives you context in terms of how powerful or not powerful this bike is. So now that we have an actual rider of a bike that is a top contender, I did a Americade, I keep wanting to say Americade event, and I test rode a lot of the Yamahas. I've liked the looks of Yamaha. I definitely like the R6 except for the handlebars, but I've never been a Yamaha guy. You guys know I'm Kawi Green, Team Green. Those are the bikes that I normally obsess about. But And then Yamaha, I just admire. But after riding the Yamahas, I kept finding that I loved them. You know, bike after bike, I was like, this is awesome. This is awesome. Even a standard bike. I think that Heritage Edition bike that I rode, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. I love, you know what it is? I love the Yamaha motors. The motors of the bikes that I rode, for the most part, were smooth and very torquey. A lot of low-end grunt. I love that. I love torque. I love low-end grunt. And I think these are the things that are attracting me. And then the fact that they were, for the most part, smooth. I think one of them was kind of jerky, but for the most part, they are they are smooth bikes. And then the comfort level was decent. So, you know, I'm definitely taking a close look on the Yamaha. But what I would like to ask you is, Jeremiah, is what kind of power? How would you describe the power on your FZ09? Now, I know it's kind of ridiculous to compare it to the ZX14, and that's good. You're also Team Green as well. But tell me the power delivery in general, how it feels to you, especially you've been riding it for a while. Someone who's never ridden a bike, how would you describe it? And then tell me in context of your ZX14. What's the difference between riding your MTFZ, riding your 09? What's the difference between riding your 09 and your 614? How would you describe the difference in terms of power delivery? And let me see what else you said here. So, I also ride a Turbo ZX14. Oh, okay, so he's like, Jeremiah's like, get out of here with your big Texas talk and your Nike ridiculous bike talk. I've heard some cool things about that bike. I got a ZX14. How you like them apples? Okay, I got you. FC is just my daily. Now, it's all MT model, same bike. It's all MT model, same bike. Okay. Mine is 2015 when it was still known as the FZ. I thought about that. Stump. So he says stump pulling. Stump pulling. I'm not sure how to interpret that. The torque on the Yamaha is fantastic. So, very torquey bike. Speaking my language. Might be too big for a second bike. I'm not too sure. What's the price on this as well? Price is also a factor. As a second bike, I feel, oh, wow. That's interesting. I want to do a weight comparison as well. I want to do a weight comparison because I would tend to think, you know, go with the MT-07, right? It's lighter weight. You like lightweight bikes. An MT-09 is too big. You know what I mean? Get some more riding experience before you get onto a big MT-09. But the weight difference is not that much. Let me see. Chassis. Where do they put the weight? Weight is weight 425 pounds for the 9. Did I pull the 7 out? I don't think I pulled the 7 out. There's the 7. There you go. Let's put the 7 before the 9. So there's the 7. And dimensions. So 403 pounds versus, so 25 pound difference. So 25 pound difference. So when you're riding the MT-09, but it also has more power as well. In terms of how it feels, the power is irrelevant to the feel of the bike in terms of that weight when you're, you know, leaning in and all that. So it's on the MT-09, you've got a really heavy backpack that's just absolutely stuffed with books from class or something. So I don't know, 25 pounds is not that big of a deal for a newer rider especially. So I don't know that the 7 is worth the weight savings. I mean, I want to see what you're getting as far as power. So 847, of course they don't tell you the torque on this. And is it the same engine? 6 689. Look for, okay, let's see. What is the, oh, the 9 is the triple. The 9 is the triple, and the 7 is just an inline 4. So Jeremiah says stump pulling torque. All right. Just try it and you will be sold. This is my 9th bike, and it's the most well-rounded. See, this is good information. I really appreciate you sharing that with us, Jeremiah. So Jeremiah not only is riding the MT-09 as a daily bike, which he bought in 2015. So that's a lot of riding experience on the bike. He's very familiar with the bike at this point, and as a daily bike, right? So he's really familiar, racked up a lot of miles on it. But also context. He has excellent context. This is the 9th bike that he's had. So presumably Jeremiah has had a lot of experience with a lot of different bikes, a lot of time to figure out what he likes and what he doesn't like. All assumptions on my part. So when he brags about the MT-09, it has a lot more significance than someone who's only ridden a few bikes and doesn't really know what's out there. So lending a lot of credibility to his vote. And the price point. So we're talking about $7,600 versus call it $9,000. So let me see. What is that? Let's call that $7,600 versus $7,600 versus $9,000. 7,600, 8, 9. That's what we're talking about. $1,500 difference. My math is horrible. Is that a $1,500 difference? That's what I'm guessing. $1,500 difference. 76.86 is 1,000. 76.86 is 1,000, and then 789. So it's like $1,400 difference. Not a huge price difference, especially if you're financing it. I don't think those payments are going to be much different. I mean, I like to buy bikes cash, like I did the KTM RC390. But yeah, so price difference is not really that much of a difference. 25-pound difference. Yeah, so I'm gonna strongly look at the MT-09. So additionally, hey Andrew, good to see you, man. Andrew says I don't know bikes. That's right. I've only been riding for 2 years. Wink, wink. Jeremiah, I'm gonna look at that bike. What would you say for a new rider? So a new rider who's only been riding, someone who just started riding, they've been riding a 390cc KTM motorcycle for 2 years, racked up a ton of miles, took the classes, practicing, and just a lot of, really took it seriously. But jumping from that to the MT-09, I think it makes more sense because it's not a first bike, and even though it's a second bike, it's a second bike for a rider that has a lot of miles, right? 2 years is a lot of time to get comfortable and sort of, a lot of things will happen in 2 years, right? So you'll have a lot of experience, a lot of different scenarios, and I think if you were taking it really seriously, I think you have the knowledge and experience that makes it sensible to look at a potentially powerful motorcycle. Don't go crazy, but I think that this is not a crazy idea. So Jeremiah, just tell me your thoughts on as a second bike, the MT-09, in terms of, so the power delivery, you said it's great, a lot of torque. But what about someone who has never experienced a bike like that? The most powerful bike you've ever ridden is the 390, right? The most powerful bike is the 390, and powerful and 390 don't really go together, right? The KTM 390, powerful is not one of the words that you use to describe that bike at all, right? It's not aggressive in any shape or form. You got no torque, relatively speaking. So what is this going to be a bike that's going to be a little crazy for a newer rider? Tell me, power modes, things like that. Andrew, my man. Andrew says, you don't know bikes, mate. You don't know bikes, Andrew. How you like them apples? I can tell by your last name that you don't know bikes. That's racist. Okay, while I'm waiting for Jeremiah to give feedback on that, let us move on to Honda. Honda, let's see, Street. Standard, dual sport, sport. I gotta be honest, Honda is not really exciting me. Interesting enough, I'm more excited about their Goldwing of all things. Me, the anti-big bike and touring bike guy. Andrew says just get the MT-09. But I'm not excited about... I rode the what is it? The CBR, I think it was a 650F. The 650F, I mean, it's a good bike. It's not a bad bike, but it just, I don't know, it just didn't excite me, man. The power's all up top. Unless you're screaming, it's not really doing anything. In fact, if you don't get the RPMs up or RPM up, it feels like it's a weak bike. This bike doesn't have any power. This bike sucks. But then you rev it more, and you're like, okay, all right, that's not bad. But I don't like to depend on top RPM to get a bike to move. That just doesn't work for me, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that makes it very beginner-friendly, right? So that makes it, if you really want to get a sport bike, right? You don't want to start with something like the typical beginner bikes, right? You want to jump in a 600 class bike, you want a sport bike. I would say this is a great contender because this bike is not going to do anything crazy unless you demand it. You have to demand that it does something crazy. Otherwise, it's a very, very docile bike. It's just like, what is this? There's no power. I mean, obviously, opinions about no power are going to vary in terms of a new rider versus an experienced rider. What a new rider calls no power and what an experienced rider calls no power are not the same thing. I mean, a KTM 390 might be powerful to a new rider, not used to it, right? It's kind of like, whoa, you know, because it does have good get up and go. Just relative to more powerful bikes, it's very weak. But I would say this is a very beginner-friendly bike. I would say considering 2 hard years, a lot of practice, racetrack, tons of miles, lots of practice on a KTM 390, I don't think that the CBR 650F is the next bike to go to. Well, let me qualify that. If you're like me and you really like going fast and ultimately you're heading towards super sport hyperbike, something like that. You're looking at a ZX10, MV Agusta 1090RR, something crazy, right? If that's where your mind is and that's where you're eventually going, then this bike is pointless after 2 years of solid riding on a smaller bike. But not everybody wants that, right? That's not what everybody wants. What if you're just commuting, you want something that's economical or whatever it is, for whatever reason, you want to commute on a motorcycle, right? You're not looking to go fast and all that kind of stuff. Then this is excellent. This might be an excellent choice because it's a 650, so you have more power than the 390, right? It's a bigger bike. It's going to be a little bit more practical than that little tiny 390. So this could be the bike for you. This could be your destination bike. This could be the bike like you go from 390 to this bike and you can have it for 10 years and you're good and you're happy, right? Every rider is different, right? Not everybody wants to go fast and do wheelies and all that kind of stuff. So for that person, that's a good choice. Beginner riders, right? Excellent choice in terms of when you're ready for like a 600 type bike, or for a rider who doesn't want something crazy, you don't want something smooth, and you're maybe an older rider, or you're just a rider who's not all about that power and speed and all that kind of stuff, then this is the bike. Or I don't know, some riders you like to scream, you like high RPM all day. If you like doing that all day, then do you? Who am I to tell you what to do? And any of you guys that want to jump in on the Hangout, I got a Hangout running right now. If you want to tell me how much of an idiot I am and how I don't know anything about bikes or whatever it is you want to say, the Hangout link is in the chat. I try to copy it. I don't know why it's giving me this big, crazy link. I'm gonna copy the link. You guys want to join the Hangout? There's the link. Come in and speak your mind. So yeah, I'm just gonna eliminate this. I'm not interested in a 650F. I think the only bike from Honda that I'd be interested in as a second bike right now would be the I don't know what the difference is between the 600RR. I'm making an assumption. See, this is exactly what Andrew's talking about when he says, I don't know anything about bikes, right? Because I don't know, for all I know, in the back of my mind, I want to think that the 600RR is this, it can't be the same motor. I want to assume it's a more powerful motor because I think the deal is that the 650F and the other one, it's the same motor, but one is naked and one's not. If I'm not mistaken, let's see, sport bikes. I think the 650F. No, the CBR 650F, I think is the same motor as the CB 650F. Same motor, one's naked, one's not naked. But I'm going to assume that this other bike is their race bike, which probably has more power. Maybe that's the one to go with. So I don't know. I'd have to educate myself on this bike. I do not know what the specs are. I'm not a Honda guy. I don't have any experience with Hondas. So Andrew is correct. So let's see what Jeremiah said. Put it in B mode to start. That gives more linear delivery for new riders or rainy conditions. Then standard mode for daily riding. Then A mode for all the power. So it looks like there's no problems for a new rider. You can put it you can use the modes, put it in a mode that doesn't have as much power, so you can get used to it. And then when you're ready, you can upgrade it. Not upgrade it, but change it. One of my comments about that, everyone's different. Your levels of discipline is different for every rider, but I caution riders who think, I can get the most powerful bike and just put it in a mode where it's not as powerful. In theory, yes, right? In theory, yes. In theory, if you get enough sleep every day, right, you're going to live longer, you'll have more energy, you'll be more creative, a lot of things will work out better for you, right? But in reality, a lot of people in the United States are sleep deprived, right? That's the reality. People do not get enough sleep. That's the reality versus perfect world, right? So in theory, you can get, a ZX6R as your first bike. You can get a ZX10 as your first bike, right? And put it in a mode where not a lot of power, right? And then you're fine. But here's the reality. That's the in theory. But in reality, to have that amount of power for a new rider, most new riders don't have the discipline to not mess with that mode. If there's a way you could turn it off to where you have to go to the dealer to turn it back on, then I would say that makes more sense. It's kind of like the credit card thing, right? You give a young guy a credit card with a high balance, right? The idea that this guy's going to walk around with a credit card with access to, $10,000, right? And they're going to see a ton of things and know that they could just swipe and have it just like that and not do it. In theory, you can have a card with a high balance as a younger person and just not do that and be responsible, right? In reality, most younger people aren't going to have that discipline. They're going to go and buy a bunch of things, and one thing leads to the next. Next thing you know, they're in debt, right? So the reality is a powerful bike with power modes, not advisable for many new riders. Definitely not for a first bike. There's going to be the rare person that has that military discipline to where they're not going to mess with the power modes until they're ready. Because ideally, that's what you'd want to do. You'd want to get a bike with all these modes as a newer rider, and you'd want to stay in the mode appropriate to your skill level. Your skill level doesn't change from day to day, right? So really, you should be consistently riding in the lower power modes until you're ready, right? But I feel like next to no one's going to do that. The average rider, in my opinion, is going to be curious, right? As soon as you start getting a little bit comfortable, you think you're comfortable, but you're only comfortable riding how you've been riding, where you've been riding, right? it takes experience for you to get into enough scenarios for you to realize where you're really at, right? You've just been riding on the highway every day and you're like, yeah, I'm good, right? Until you make a mistake and you make an exit into a turn faster than you should have, and then there's an obstacle in the way, and then you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, so it takes time, experience, right? Time of riding different scenarios for you to really see whether you're comfortable or not. A new rider doesn't have enough experience to really know where they're really at, right? So you jump onto a bigger bike too soon and run into those scenarios. That bigger, more powerful bike, more powerful brakes will kill you, right? That being said, doesn't really apply directly to my scenario because we're doing virtual 2 years of riding. So someone has been riding for 2 years, a lot of practice. So you have a good solid foundation to kind of get onto a powerful bike, and even the risk of you messing with the high power modes here and there, I don't think it's that dangerous. Still kind of tricky, but I would say that's sensible. First bike, no. So anyway, so Honda, that's the one, and Aprilia. So Aprilia, I don't think European bikes are the way to go for a beginner bike or a second bike. If money's no object, go nuts. But I generally, I'm concerned about reliability. I'm concerned about costs when it comes to European bikes. And those are not things I want to mess with for a newer rider. I don't want to get a bike that's going to break down. Don't want to get a bike that's going to be expensive to maintain. Not for someone who's new. Maybe you might decide I don't want to ride motorcycles, right? Second bike, and then, just like, okay, I've been riding for 5 years now. Been there, done that, right? I don't want to, I'm done with it. Right, so I don't think it's wise to invest in more expensive bikes like this early in the game. That being said, yeah, they don't really have. You know what? I'm gonna drop the European bikes right off the bat. I'm dropping Aprilia. I'm dropping MV Agusta. Those are not appropriate for beginner bikes, in my opinion. I wouldn't do that. That wouldn't be my bike after 2 years of riding. Nope. You can grow your confidence in it. You can grow your confidence in it and pull hard in any gear. Trust me. Says Jeremiah. Andrew says, I have a KTM 390 2017 and an MT-07. You'll want more power after 3 months of ownership. Andrew, 3 months of ownership with which bike? Which 3 months of ownership with what? The KTM? Because I've done 3 months, and I'm good. Matter of fact, my first actual bike, first time around, my first actual bike was the Kawasaki, wow, I'm getting old, KLR 250. Yeah, KLR 250, dual sport. I rode that bike, I think, for a couple of years, and the reason why I kept it actually. The reason why I upgraded was really not even the power, because it was nice and torquey for I did a lot of city riding on that thing, and the city was great. Suspension was great, visibility was great, being high, and that engine was torquey enough for city riding, right? I was passing cars, I was having fun, doing my thing. The reason why I got another bike was because of the Kickstart, and being, at that time I was living in New York, and Kickstart bike, riding all year, in particular in the winter, was a pain in the ass. I'm going to work in suit and ties, and I'm out there kicking this thing, and it won't start, and I gotta try to roll it down the block, and then roll it down the hill, and then jump on, and it doesn't start, and I gotta push this heavy bike back up the hill and try again, and I gotta get my all kinds of craziness, trying to heat it up with different, just, starter fluid and whatever. Just like, it was nuts, absolutely nuts. I was literally sweating in the wintertime. I get up in the morning and I'm sweating by the time I get the bike started. That was ridiculous. So I didn't get another bike because it was too slow. I got another bike because of I needed why can't I think right now? I needed a fuel injected bike. Carbureted bike in the wintertime problem. So the 390 is definitely, much more powerful than the significantly more powerful than the 250. But yeah, I'm not bored with the power. I do miss the power for sure, but I have a lot of fun on the KTM RC390 even after a few months of ownership. I'm not your typical rider. So Andrew says, Andrew's 100% right. I also put some bolt-ons and pushing a dyno 180 to 88 foot-pounds of torque. Wow. 180 horsepower. Andrew says, can you even lane split, bro? I lane split all the time when I'm riding in California, which is where I usually ride. Most of my riding, I would say at least 90% of my riding is in California. Usually Mulholland Drive on the weekends, if sometime in a weekday. Yeah. So, but I might or might not lane split when I ride on the East Coast as well. Jeremiah says, not legally, but that really doesn't stop. Yeah. Just need to have higher situational awareness. Absolutely. Andrew says, what about BMW? Not reliable. First of all, I don't know if KTM. Well, like I said, European bikes, I wouldn't trust reliability. KTM, it's a brand new bike. I had one bolt fall out. I had some shifting issues, which magically just went away. I think it was getting stuck in a gear. It was jumping from one gear to the next. And that's a brand new bike with less than 1,000 miles on it. Yeah. If I want reliability, I'm going with a Japanese bike. So newer bikes, newer riders, I definitely would say Japanese. BMW, I've heard so many stories about problems with BMWs. I mean, that's just how it is. You know, German engineers, they talk about German engineering, right? But German engineers, there's a different philosophy in terms of design. If you do research into Japanese, just in general, the cars, same thing, like their philosophy of how they approach things in terms of reliability, quality standards, it's very unique. In Germany, I think the focus is more on performance, efficiency, luxury, obviously where these things apply. They do really well with that. Some of the best luxury vehicles in the world, German. Some of the most highest performing vehicles, right? German, right? And I think efficiency. They do well with efficiency as well. I don't know if. Well, yeah. When I say efficiency, I mean because Japanese definitely efficient as well, right? They got a lot of economical cars. When I say efficiency, I mean power and efficiency, right? They're more likely to mess around with like turbos and things like that. So where you have a smaller engine producing bigger engine power, right? Whereas with the Japanese, to me, they more hang around with the 4 cylinders and 6 cylinders and things like that. So not as much power. That's why I look at it. I like KTM. BMW costs too damn much to maintain. Yep. Well, the 390 is made in India. Yeah, good point. All right, so let's wrap this up. So out of all these bikes, I think you guys know where my mind is right now. All right, I'm not even going to play games with you guys. I think Yamaha, I'm going to move to the top of the list. I like I told you, I rode the bikes recently. I love them. You know, I just love the motors. Visually, they're appealing to me. That torque, I mean, they're pushing all the right buttons for me. So, and I think I'm going to take you guys' recommendation. I love the triple, right? It's only 25-pound difference, right? And both of you guys are saying MT-09. Just get the MT-09, right? This is already a bike that was, you know, caught my attention. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and put this to the top of the list. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and drop the MT-07. So MT-07 goes bye-bye. As far as Kawasaki, let's see what we got going. We got the Ninja 650. Okay, I gotta look into that. Then you got the ZX6R. I love the ZX6R. Let's put the 6R above the 650. Then you got the Z650. I gotta look into it. These are other options. I'll look into them. You know what? 3 bikes. Let's eliminate one of these bikes. We want to get to a short list. So am I gonna get the Z650? Am I gonna drop the Z650 or the Ninja 650? Are they the same motor? One's naked and one's... Is that what it is? Like, let's see what the difference is. So, models... Where's the motor? 650 ABS. And this is the Z650. Parallel twin. Oh, so that's a parallel twin versus... Oh, this is parallel twin as well. So, where is the full specs? Come on, Kawasaki. Oh, here we go. So, 48 foot-pounds of torque at 6,500 versus, what is this guy? Z650. What do you got going? Z650 is... where is this? Okay, there we go. 48 foot-pounds of torque at 6,500. So they're both giving the same amount of torque at the same RPM. Similar size engine. I think it's the same size engine. 4-stroke 2-cylinder dual overhead cam. 4-stroke 2-cylinder. So this is basically the same motor. I don't know how it's tuned, but it's like the same motor. So I'm gonna look. The last thing I'm gonna look at is the weight. 410 versus 425. So it's not a huge difference in weight. These are very similar bikes. You know what? I'm gonna drop the... I don't know how this is. You know, gearing is important, right? I can't just look at the weight and the torque. I need to know how these bikes are geared, because you could gear this bike here to where it's much more zippy and just a lot of, like, the way the torque is delivered could be much more exciting. Like, that's what I'm inclined to believe that that's what this is, because I remember the Z900, right? So I'm thinking like that. That may not be accurate. I got to do research, but if I'm to take a guess, you know, we have a good selection. You know what? I don't think I'm going to take this over the MT-09. So I'm dropping this. So that's it. These are the two Kawasaki choices, ZX6R and the 650. Suzuki, and the 600 or the 750. I think I'm gonna drop the... Yeah, I don't want a Suzuki 600. So it's either a naked 750 or the fully fared version. And then from Honda, the CBR 600RR, perhaps. So those are the bikes. Jeremiah is like, crap. Jeremiah says the Z650 is crap. All right, well, I think we just dumped it, so we're good on that one. MT-09 is about 12,000. Z650 is crap. Avoid Suzuki. Wow. Why do you say avoid Suzuki, Andrew? Andrew's saying avoid Suzuki. I like the 750. All right. This is a project that I'm doing with you guys. Now, ultimately, I'm making the decisions. I'm picking out based on what I like the best, right? But I want to take a lot of guidance from you guys as well, because this is a project that we're doing as a community, right? So I'm listening to you guys, your feedback and things like that. So based on that, Jeremiah, do you agree? What are your thoughts on Suzuki? I'm about to make a decision here. About to make a harsh decision on Suzuki. Yamaha and KTM are innovating. Suzuki has been left behind. Good point. Good point. I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna drop the S750Z. I assume Anthony means KTM 790. I definitely don't. I'm not happy with my KTM experience. Not specifically on the bike. I mean, there were little issues with the bike as well, but the company, I didn't like how I was treated. I don't like what I'm hearing as well. So, yeah, I'm definitely not looking at a KTM as a second bike. The RC390 was great for a first bike and everything, and I had a great time with it overall, like the riding experience, but I'm not looking at another KTM. And that sucks because I hear great things about some of their bigger bikes. I repair and ride all sorts. Wow, Jeremiah, really, you're a great resource. You have a lot of experience with a lot of different bikes, and you're doing repair work. Wow. Every time you say something, it's like your credibility just keeps going higher and higher in terms of the value of your opinions, like what you're saying. It's like you're not just some random guy saying stuff. Like you have the knowledge to back it up. So you're repairing and riding all sorts of bikes for a living. For what it's worth, you will be much happier with an FZ09. Don't care for Suzuki. Excuse me, MT09. You said yourself you like the triples. Why fight the urge? Yeah. All right, so okay, I think I need to eliminate some more bikes. Yamahas are top contenders right now, but they're so highly ranked that I need to drop some of these other bikes as well. Okay, so I'm dropping the 600. CBR 600RR, Suzuki 750. And I got two cars. I'm dropping this. I'm dropping the 650 ABS. So it's between the new ZX6R, the Suzuki 750, the Honda CBR 600RR, the Yamaha MT09, and the R6. R6, I'm concerned about the ergonomics. I think it's better than it used to be, but I don't want to mess with an R6 again. I've had too much time with the R6. So I don't know. I got to do research and see how the ergonomics are. If I hear problems with that still, I'll dump that in a second and just go MT09. So who is the second in line? Would I say the ZX6R? Yeah, I think we got a pretty good order right now. I would say this in this order. So this is how I'm gonna rate. Andrew, the Daytona 675R is my favorite bike. Absolute favorite bike. I love it. I have a lot of miles on it. I've ridden that thing from Los Angeles out to Vegas. I mean, yeah. I love me some Daytona 675R. But now you got me thinking. I don't want to have two Daytonas. Yeah, and that's European. Nah. Nope. No Daytona. East Coast bike is not going to be a Daytona. Not right now, anyway. Just watch the MT09 review vids on YouTube, and that'll answer your questions and squelch your doubts. In stock form, the ZX6R will have higher top speed, but 0 to 30, the MT09 rules all. Wow. Oh my goodness, Jeremiah works for Yamaha. Jeremiah works for Yamaha. No, I'm just kidding. ZX6R will have higher top speed, but 0 to 30 MT09. Wow. That means it's dominating the streets. So who has... So let's take a look at... Let's see. Let's go from the bottom of the list to the top. From the bottom of the list, started from the bottom, now we're here. Let's see what we got. What do we got? 2014 CBR 600RR first ride, chase on 2 wheels. Driven and ridden. Honda CBR 600 road test 11 years ago. Wow. 1 million views. Who's got a good review? Psycho Cruiser. Psycho Cruiser. Should we listen to Psycho Cruiser? What does Psycho Cruiser have to say? Let's see. I'm curious. Let's see what Psycho Cruiser has to say. Psycho Cruiser is getting paid. Should we click on the ad? Hey, let's support a fellow motorcyclist. Let's click on the ad. Air France. All right, Psycho Cruiser just got a penny from me. All right, so there you go. That's what you do. That's how you support your favorite YouTubers. Doing things like that, which I will not repeat because you're not supposed to encourage that. But anyway. Okay, so here's Psycho Cruiser.
Subscribe today.
Subscribe today. This is Psycho Cruiser. Subscribe today. Psycho Cruiser, if you're listening, I respect you. You're an awesome person. I was not making fun of you. I was just trying to entertain my audience because clearly they're bored with me because I'm I can compare to the Psycho Cruiser. I mean, you just got so much energy going on. It's just like, nothing personal, bro.
Well, I'm going to give my thoughts on the...
He's going to give his thoughts on...
2015 Honda CBR 600 double R.
600 double R.
Actually, it's a 2014 model, but hey, they made no significant changes for the model year 2015. So basically, you'll be looking at the same bike here. Okay. Like some of the other super sports that have lower clip-ons. It's got the undertail exhaust still, which I think looks fantastic. It's a bike because it's got more than enough power for the streets. Awesome power. It's quick off the line. It's got strong mid-range power on the highway. It's quick. It's got great linear power and it's fun. It's lightweight, man. It's one of the lightest 600cc super sports on the market at 410 pounds wet. It's comfortable. It's got a good comfortable seat. It's got the raised clip-ons. You don't have any problems with wrist issues or hand issues like some of the other super sports that have lower clip-ons. It's got the undertail exhaust still, which I think looks fantastic. It's out of the way. You don't have to worry about ankle burns. There's no heat issues at the seat like some of the other bikes that have the undertail exhaust. It has the MotoGP inspired HESD, which is the Honda electronic steering damper that's built in.
So Jeremiah says to look up FZ09 versus anything. So here is drag race Yamaha FZ09 versus what? FZ09 versus MT09. What? FZ09 versus R6. Let's see what happens here. Show some love. Click on it. Oh, where's the ad? I was gonna click on. Oh well. Sorry, guys. Wait. Hold a minute. Who's on the FZ09 and who's on the R6? That looks like an R6 to me over here. So I'm going to assume the camera is on the FZ09. I mean, these graphics look like R6 to me. Does he label it? Just to be sure? Yeah, see, that's the... Wait a minute, what did I say? Yeah, what? I'm being an idiot. Yeah, so that was the R6 on the right. So the camera's on the FZ09. And the FZ09 goes bye-bye. Oh, the top speed is limited to 135. I would consider. Hey, Jeremiah, how stable is the FZ09 at top speeds? If it has the good suspension and everything and good brakes, I would consider breaking the restriction on the 135. So it's not like racing against an H2 or anything like that. I mean, it's faster, but it's not like destroying the R6 or anything. I mean, it kind of walks away. I mean, let's see again. I mean, he's still there. He's walking away the whole time, but he's not. There's these headlights right there. Okay, it's you can't really see the bike. It looks like it may start to walk away faster at some point. In the beginning, it doesn't seem to be that aggressive, but if you look at the headlights, there's a point where it just kind of like disappears. Yeah, I get that, Jeremiah, but I was saying you can break the restriction, right? The only thing is the reason why they restricted in the first place. Like some bikes you don't want to be going fast on, right? They don't have the brakes for it. But if that bike has powerful enough brakes, it's got good enough suspension where it feels stable at speeds, shouldn't be a big deal to break the restriction. If it's, I mean, that big engine can go faster than 135, right? So the only reason not to break it is if it's not a stable bike at speeds, and it's not a race bike, right? So it's not designed for top speeds, so it might not be stable. But I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But based on that, I would decide whether taking off the restriction or not is a good idea. Yeah, the R6 seems to hang on pretty good. Look in this race, he's not even really pulling away to me. I don't know what they did. Oh, I guess because they're starting at a higher speed. Is that what it is? Oh, 40 miles per hour. So things are starting to change at 40 miles per hour. Yeah, because a torquey bike like that, it's got all that low-end grunt. The R6 needs to get its RPM up. At 40, I guess there's a potential of having much higher RPM and therefore power on tap, which is what we're seeing. Because look at the difference. 40 mile per hour roll, the R6 is hanging on for dear life. Yeah, he was starting to. They were already so close that at some point in time it started getting to the limits of the FZ09, and then the R6 took off. Of course, at the end, obviously the FZ09 was braking already, but you could see that the if they had kept going, you could see that the R6 was about to win. But that's the thing. The torquey triple, like Jeremiah was saying, is going to dominate at the lower speeds, lower to mid. Once you start exiting the mid and going up to higher speeds, then the R6 is going to have the advantage. I'm talking about quarter-mile race. I already said the Super Sport 1000. Yep. It's rider confidence as well. Yep, that's definitely a factor. Yeah, I'll spend some time looking at some more of the reviews to get an assessment. Let's see the FZ09 review 2018. Honest review. Let's see what Honest Review has to say. Alex Simmons. I don't know why I call him Honest Review.
Yamaha MT-09. And FZ09, same bike, same. What's up everyone, it's Alex. I've been waiting forever to do it, I'm finally going to do it. I'm going to do a Yamaha FZ09/MT09 review. Yes, I know, it's a little bit late. These bikes have been out for a little while. They're not like super brand new. Wish I had had room for both of them because I missed the remolding that they did with the tail section a little bit. Other than that, over the years, since 14, they've just done like some fuel mapping upgrades and things to make the throttle a little bit less twitchy and a little bit more manageable. But basically the bike has remained mostly unchanged since it came out 2014. What is this bike awesome at? What do I love about this bike? I'm going to give you that and then I'll give you the couple of drawbacks to it, okay? So this thing is awesome for the following reasons. This was a bike that Yamaha specifically put out to cater to having an awesome bike with awesome technology in the sport category that put out a lot of new stuff that was also inexpensive. When these things first came out, Yamaha hit a target of $7,900 brand new for these, which in the world of modern sport motorcycles, for the kind of technology this has, the kind of horsepower it puts out, that's like unheard of. So it's $7,900 brand new when they came out. Now they're $8,900 brand spanking new, which still, for a 900cc sport bike that handles like this thing does and puts out this kind of power, $8,900 is still pretty cheap, brand spanking new. Oh, and you can find them used all day long for $5,900 or less, by the way, just throwing that out there. So, very inexpensive for the awesomeness that you get.
Jeremiah, I want this bike to be loud. I assume it's quiet stock. What can I do? What do you recommend to make this bike sound totally awesome? What would you modify? How would you modify it to make it sound really awesome? I want it to be loud, but also I want to be able to control the noise. Like if I'm low RPM range, I should be able to be relatively quiet. But if I'm on the gas, right? If I'm really on the throttle, I want to hear that thing scream. Right? I want to hear that triple. What do you recommend?
So what these things have is these things have plenty of horsepower. They're over 100 horsepower, which on the street, 100 horsepower in a bike this light is plenty. They are very light for the kind of a bike that they are. They have incredibly good handling, and for the price that you pay, they have good suspension on them. You do get adjustable inverted front forks on the thing, and you do get an adjustable sideways mounted mono shock in the back. And this is kind of a debatable thing with some people, but I think the looks on them are freaking killer as well. The way they set the whole thing up is to be as minimal as possible with kind of a less is more mentality in the construction of it. The entire frame is just this that you see right here. That's the whole frame of the bike, okay? And the way they designed the whole thing, they put the motor in as a stressed bottom part of the frame. So the frame is minimal right here, motor completes the frame, and you have a very minimal subframe bolted in for the rear end. Less pieces, less weight, less overall complicated. Yamaha also for this bike followed suit with something that Buell did years ago and something that Kawasaki since did in their Ninja 650. And they did an underslung, low-mounted exhaust that dumps out right behind the foot peg. So that helps get a lot of your weight and your center of mass down low with this bike, which helps a lot with your handling characteristic and helps a lot with you feeling like the bike is lighter and more manageable. Yamaha.
Nice. I like this guy's style. I would rather he was riding the bike as well, but it's all good. Let's see if he happens to have... Let's say hi. Let's say hi. Featured this in my Friday live stream. Sent the link to your video to my subs. Great video. Looking at this bike. Okay, so left a little note there. Let's go and see if he has a Ninja video. Let's see, ZX6 Ninja. Does not have a Ninja video. Let's see, ZX6R review. Faith Riding. I think this guy does pretty good stuff.
Claire is relaxed. Thanks to the Air
Show
France
some
app,
love. Show
she has
some
her
love.
boarding pass with her already.
Let's go to Air France. Didn't we go to Air France already? Does he get paid as well?
We are, guys. Northeast.
For sending the same person to the same website? Actually, that's an interesting thing. Do you get paid? So, I work for Air France. I don't mean that literally, but let's say I work for Air France and I'm advertising on YouTube. So, the guy from your Fast Life was served an ad for my company from one video. And I paid for that. Then that same guy went to another video and got served my ad again. Like, do you pay for that? I mean, I don't know if I would want to pay for, you know, the same person to see my ad twice like that. I mean, I think there's rules you can set. Does every view have to be unique? Or because the same person seeing the same ad multiple times actually does work. Because if you keep showing me the ad, it'll keep reminding me of your brand or your product. And then maybe eventually at the right time, I see the ad and I buy it. So I don't know. Just showing some love. Butterfly valves will help how you want the exhaust. So Andrew says, search for how did RJ do the awesome exhaust sound at a press of a button. So we'll take a look at that after we look at
Claire is relaxed.
Oh man, Air France again. Okay, so there we go, Royal Jordanian. Let's see what's up with this one.
Big issue is putting a lot of weight on the handlebars. A lot of newer riders tend to do that because their arms are locked and they're hunched over and they're just, you know, putting a lot of six or anything like that. CBR has been the same for quite a while. But this bike, it was so far ahead of its time, there's no reason to change it. You know, everything's great. You know, you've got your traction modes, you've got your power modes, you've even got a gear indicator with this bike. Nice big old speedometer. You might be thinking about this bike, maybe you're coming off of a Ninja 400, or you could be coming off of a Suzuki SV650 and you want something more sporty. You could be like me and be riding a Z125 or Honda Grom and just want something with more power. Would this be a good bike? Would this be a good beginner bike? Well, you make it. It's a relationship. You make it how you want. You control how fast you go. You control how slow you go. You know, it's all about self-control. The seat height, you know,
That's kind of silly. Isn't that any bike? I mean, that's what the throttle is, right? Controls how fast you go or how slow you go.
I got short legs. Again, I'm 5'8", and when I throw my leg over this bike, and you don't have to put your foot on the brake, it's very comfortable. Great on my behalf. The R6, I just happened to ride a bike that had the highest seat height out of all the 600s, which was just great on my behalf. But you know, it works. When I hop on this bike, it's really not a big issue for me to ride it and to throw a leg over it, and it's very comfortable. You know, it's very easy. It's dissipating so quickly, you know, it doesn't bother me at all. The chassis is designed like truly. When you hop on this bike, it's exactly the same, and you fine-tune it with your hand, yes, but if you happen to get out of whack, the power just doesn't rip it out from underneath your legs. It's very manageable and controllable. But then, you know, like I said, if we're talking to the riders that normally do some commuting, maybe some bike nights, I mean, man, this is the bike. It's just so well balanced. It's so comfortable to ride. But, you know, it's got all the simple control.
All right, let's look at the video that
Thanks for coming back.
Andrew recommended. Let's go to Fandango. All right. Fandango.
First man.
So many of you guys, when they first saw the video with the sound change, they said, oh, he's switching microphones. Let me be clear, first of all, actually. This is not a solution that I will run with. It was taken as a challenge because I've seen it done on some cars, especially American muscle cars. And I couldn't find one for a bike, so I went and bought one for a car, which presented its own challenges because it's too big, even though the valve was only 2.5 inch, but the mounting, you can see it there. I mean, it came with stuff like this. Look at that. And this, and some seals and what have you. It was just too much. Anyway, so it is a hardware solution. Some of you said we've seen it on other bikes, but this is external. It's not internal. It's nothing to do with the baffle. You can see here it's plugged into the CAN bus on the Nuda, which provides it power. There is a receiver there, and then on the other side, at the bottom here, you can see the actual valve. Oops. I tied some brass cable on it just in case, even though it's 100% secure. Welding was another matter. It's aluminium or aluminum if you are American, onto stainless steel, which was a big problem. Anyway, I sorted it, sealed it. It's 100% secure. And what happens is, when, let me start the bike. So this is with standard sound, and I drop. Oh, I dropped the remote. So there is. Sorry, I dropped the remote. There is the remote. If you look at the valve there, and I press open, so that's the sound. Close it.
Andrew, thank you very much for that suggestion. I'm definitely going to be looking into this. This looks like it's exactly what I was looking for. Let's put that in future episodes. Watch later, whatever. All right, guys. This live stream went on a lot longer than it was supposed to. I guess I got a little bit too much into this bike shopping. But right now, these are the list of bikes. Yamaha R6, MT-09, Kawasaki ZX6R, Suzuki 750, CBR 600 RR. Right now, the Yamaha is really the bike to beat. I think this is going to be the benchmark. So I think I'm going to start with this bike. What does this bike deliver in terms of what I want? Right? And then I'm going to go down the line. What does this deliver that this one does not? Right? I got to compare them against each other. Same thing here. And same thing here. To be honest, I feel like my instincts tell me that the decision is going to be between the MT-09 I don't know, man. I would say the 750. The 750 and MT-09. The Kawasaki is a great bike. But actually, let me see what's the specs on this guy. Specs. They probably don't even tell you the torque. I gotta spend the time. I gotta spend the time. I don't know the specs offhand, so I don't have enough information to base my decision. I guess bottom line, I'll need to test ride these bikes. Yeah, I think that's what I need to do. Right? I have a couple of bikes that I'm interested in. Right? But ultimately, the buying decision should come from the riding. Right? So do the research on these bikes just to get a good baseline. What's the weight? What's the torque? What's the horsepower? What's the general features, right, of each of these bikes, right? And then based on that, I can highlight the things that, is most interesting to me. Probably do a little spreadsheet with the prices as well. And then just go down the line. And let's look at the prices as well. So $12,000 for the R6. This is a great value, the MT09 at $9,000. 9, 10, 11, 12, $3,000 difference. This is at $10,000. Wow, that's interesting. $10,000, so $1,000 more, you get the 636. 750 is at 12. Wow. The 750 is at $12,000. That's $2,000 more. That's $2,500 more than the 636. Wow. Andrew, I think what I was being told is that it's called the FZ09 here. But the prices really, really turned, that changes the perspective. Look at the 600RR at $11,800. Wow. Based on value alone, the MT09 is a big contender. Especially as a second bike, because I would say don't get something too expensive. That's tough to beat, man. I didn't even consider the prices. I can't believe that the 750 is one of the top prices here. With a 380 destination charge. Wow. All right, so I think I'm on the right track. Basically, for reasons like that, I need to build a spreadsheet with each of these bikes, the prices, features that I love, right? Rate them, and then based on that, go and test ride each bike, and then ultimately let my butt decide on which is the best bike to get. Yeah, that's where we're at. This is your Fast Life motorcycle channel, the most awesome motorcycle channel in the universe. And I would like to thank you guys for joining this live stream. And I will see you soon. Shiny side up. Have an awesome weekend.
it already was in its own dimension when it comes to convention-smashing looks. It already offered outstanding power character and light, sporty handling. It's already a clear favorite with critics and riders alike. And for 2017, it's more of all of the above. It's the Yamaha FZ09. Powered by an 847cc 3-cylinder cross-plane concept engine with a 120-degree crankshaft and even firing intervals for awesome torque and incredible feel. The individually tuned variable length intake funnels optimize low and mid-range power and combine into a 3-in-1 exhaust to produce a truly unique sound. Plus, an assistant slipper clutch now makes for lighter clutch pull and smoother downshifts for a more comfortable and confident ride. Yamaha is famous for transferring championship-winning technology from its race bikes to everyday riders, like their YCCT ride-by-wire technology. And, just like the all-conquering R1, the FZ09 now comes with 2-mode traction control, plus off, to help manage wheel spin when you crank the throttle. And you're gonna want to do that. Yamaha D-Mode lets you select from 3 throttle settings at the flick of a switch. Standard, Sport, or more laid back, however you like to ride. With new ECU settings for a smooth throttle response. The upside-down front fork is now preload, rebound, and compression adjustable, giving you even more ability to tune the bike to your exact riding preference. And now, every FZ09 comes standard with ABS for greater braking confidence in wet or low traction conditions. The 3-cylinder engine also allows for a very compact and ultralight chassis, only 425 pounds with a full tank of fuel, with the new roomier seat shape for all-day rider and passenger comfort. And then, just look at it. It was already edgy. Now, it's got even more aggressive bring-it-on character. Plus a whole set of design elements that set it even further apart from every other bike in its class. Then, you can add a wide variety of genuine Yamaha and GYTR accessories to boost the FZ09's already awesome performance. Like the quick shift system that enables clutchless upshifts for an even more exciting riding experience. The Yamaha FZ09 has already redefined the category. Now it's lengthening its lead over the competition even more. Oh, and did we mention? All this radical style and technological refinement can be yours for as low as $8,999. Ready to get on and ride one? Yamaha and your local Yamaha dealer have made that more convenient than ever. Go to the Yamaha Motorsports demo page to learn more about demo ride opportunities near you. The Yamaha FZ09. The best bike in its class just got a big dose of better still.
Fast Life Music.
Whether you're new to riding, looking for your first motorcycle, or just looking for something new to put in your garage,
Le phénix ne meurt pas, mais il renaît de ses cendres. Lors des combats bientôt sonner, l'addition va être salée.
Upright naked sport bikes available on the market today. And it's constantly debated on online forums which one is the absolute best and which bike should someone go with, whether it be for a new rider or someone who's been riding for 10 years. Well, thanks to the good people over at Wow Motorcycles in Marietta, they've lent me 3 of these naked upright sport bikes for me to review and test, and answer that question once and for all today. Now, before we go into each bike individually, let's look at their specs. The FZ07 comes with a 689cc parallel twin. Yamaha claims that it'll put out 75 horsepower and 50 foot-pounds of peak torque. The FZ09, on the other hand, comes with an 8...
trick me. I can hear the money call, it's addicting. Fall off, I won't fall, you can miss me. Fast life, living fast, I can't switch speeds. Fake love and loyalty, you can't trick me. I can hear the money call, it's addicting. Fall off, I won't fall, you can miss me. Fast life, living fast, I can't switch speeds. Tell a fuck nigga miss me. Fake love and loyalty, you can't trick me. All white feel like it's whipped cream. I've been jumping off the porch since I was 16. Young nigga, I'm just trying to get my cake up. Did it by myself and I came up. Fast break scoring on these niggas like a layup.
This is your Fast Life Motorcycle channel. Shiny side up, have an awesome weekend, and until next time.